So one of the things we ought to do is determine who's going to run these meetings. If anyone wants to sort of check out on that, that's fine, but we need someone else to pick up the slack.
Mm.
While we're waiting here, I'm just going to send a text. So we have, we sent out an email to all, not quite 200 people yesterday afternoon to join Discord.
Nice.
I'd say we have at last check 13 or 15 or 18 that are in, and which is a good start.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll grow from there.
I did an 11 o'clock last night live event. 4,000 people came on it.
Wow.
We had about 40 new followers, and I had 45 people for 2.5 hours. And I mean, I could just go on like with 40 people like for hours on end, but it's actually a little bit exhausting. I don't really have an agenda. I think Jenny may have more of an agenda at the moment because she and I did a 2-hour overview of all things Bruno yesterday. And I think there's a lot of things on her mind and probably a lot of questions. So I'm happy to let her take the gavel here. I'd like to have Landon. Landon has really done a great job of getting the ball across the goal line here in the last 10 to 14 days. And so our digital presence is really, what it needs to be, to include the link tree and the emails and Calendly and the whole digital facade. I mean, facade in the good sense of the term. People can find us, they can interact with us and so forth. I need to get myself a little bit more accustomed to Discord. I didn't realize like how all encompassing it was. I thought it was like a glorified YouTube channel. And it's much more than that. I mean, it looks like you could run everything through that video, comments, reactions, everything can sort of go through there. So that's we don't have to know, everybody knows we're doing this on the fly. Everything we've tried to do this summer is getting done. That's the key. I think I was thinking about, you guys can just respond to this. Landon liked the idea. I was thinking about doing like, there used to be this thing on the classic rock station growing up, like the top 10 at 10 or the top 8 at 8 or something like that. And then back in the 90s when like grunge took over, people missed Led Zeppelin. So like every night at 8 o'clock, they'd play Led Zeppelin for an hour. And so I was going to do like 11 at 11, like 11 minutes of like boom, 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 like a lot like watching CNBC, right? You turn it on right when the market closes and they just go, like, here's the big things that happened today. And, my instinct right now is to keep doing that on TikTok, to keep building that following, to try to herd people into Discord. Landon thinks that I should go right now into Discord and do those kinds of things, like deliver the content. And I think we're both right. What it might just be is like for the next, I don't know, week or something like that, I might, announce we're going to do the top 11. We're going to do like the 11 minutes at 11 for the next week or so. And then it's going to go behind the paywall. And, we keep driving followers. I mean, they just keep coming. What's really interesting, I'd say like a month ago, it was like I'd put something up that was real edgy and like, here come the followers. Now there's enough content, they just keep coming on their own organically. Even if I don't really post anything or post something that's sort of plain vanilla or not really all that engaging, there's enough. In other words, like when I look at the comments, people are making comments on shit like I did a month ago. I didn't really anticipate that that's how the world would work. I just didn't know. I'm it's up as I go. So 1%. So here's Discord. for a 50-year-old guy, like sometimes I'm like in front of my iPad and I'm like, what? It's like playing like an old guy playing a video game. Like I can't play any of the kids' video games. Like give me Galaga or some shit and I can, maybe function with the joystick and a like fire button, but like otherwise I'm toast. So that's sort of where the state of the union for me. And I think I want Jenny, why don't you just like take over here for the next 12, 15, 20 minutes as a follow-up to our, I thought a very productive, overview of all things Bruno and what the future holds and who the people are and what everybody wants to do when they grow up.
Yeah, I have had several fantastic phone calls so far with folks, and a couple more that I want to have to really, just figure things out and kind of get us all in our proper stations and where we feel comfortable and make sure our questions are all answered. Let's see here. Yeah, so you guys, right when I signed in, were you guys talking about like Slack, Zoom, Discord, TikTok, email?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the consensus then? Where are we at with that? That's on my list.
I'm going to chime in here. I know that, James, you don't like to have too many things floating around. I'll say we don't have to be married to Zoom as a standard video chatting tool, but I'm going to put a pin in Slack for sure. Get rid of it, whatever else you want to, but I'm going to force you guys to keep Slack. It's too useful. And then probably as the project just grows and grows and grows and needs to get to like a project planning stage, Lyle set up the Confluence and the Jira instance not too long ago. Probably both of those will be sticky as well. Whatever else you want to throw away though, I don't care about. That's up to you guys. But keep Slack, keep the Atlassian products.
Right, so why don't you and Landon come to like a final recommendation to that, run it by Jenny and then run it by me, because I'll lean on you guys.
Yeah, Hangouts may be a better option if we're going to have like an audience to these, because Zoom isn't really that great for having like a central group and then like viewers.
Okay.
It has a webinar function, but you got to pay for it, and I think everybody has to have like a paid account for it. I've tried to set it up a couple of times for another client. We ended up just switching because yeah.
In other words, Zoom isn't great for like 8 people to be central and then like 250 are just listening in. All right, so fuck Zoom. Let's wind Zoom down in like the next week to 10 days and get onto Discord. And it philosophically ties in with the whole movement of what we're trying to do is like take my TikTok viewers and like bring them into the fold. And then there's a legal structure that goes around that called a DAO, right? So the technology should the form should follow the function kind of a thing. All right, so we'll wind down on Zoom here shortly. You guys think of when the best time to do that is.
Okay, we can take that as an action item to do just a little bit of research into alternatives. I'm not really sure at the moment, but we can play around with it. I'm sure there's something out there to suit us.
Thank you, guys. Let me know. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's see here. Sorry, I'm off. I just got like, while I was trying to get into this, I got a very disturbing phone call.
Is everything all right?
What?
Is everything all right?
I don't think so. No, Kurt is driving down the mountain right now and he's mid-heart attack is what he's saying. And he has James in the car with him. And a year ago, he had 4 heart attacks over the span of 6 days, a year ago in September. And he, for the past few days, has been feeling something happening and freaking out. No. And so he literally called me like 2 minutes to 4 and told me that he's driving down the mountain to his parents' house with James, and he'll go to the hospital from there, I guess. But there are no beds. There's not a single emergency room bed in our ER, and there hasn't been for 8 weeks. And we have a robust medical system here.
Sorry to hear it.
Is he relatively parents' house? Is he relatively close to his parents' house?
It's closer to there than here.
So there's nothing for you to do.
I can't do anything. And he'll lose reception for 40 minutes out of the drive anyways. So I won't be able to find him if anything happens.
Wow.
So I just got to hang tight. That's why I was like, let me just get on this call because there's nothing else I can do right now. But that's why I'm kind of like freaking a little bit. So pardon my like weirdness right now.
Yeah.
Totally understandable.
No
Yep.
worries.
All right,
So,
Jenny,
anyhow, I can go over my notes.
please.
Okay. Let's see here. What about, okay, this is an idea I had. Okay, so like during Jim's lives, everybody's like, oh, I want this area code or in the whatever. I want this one. I want this one. We don't have anywhere to direct them. And I think a lot of us are like, see that we need to build the channels to direct people to get them where they need to land. And so is it possible to add something into Jim's TikTok link tree that, perfect. Thank you, Landon, you're on it.
Yep.
thank
Yeah, I got you. I can make a form that he
Yep.
can use as a call to action. You know, if you're interested in a local DAO, hit the link in bio. Just let me
To
know
be the
what.
founder, to claim your area code DAO, hit it here.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. Just let me know what questions or information you want to put in the form, and I'll work that up pretty
Cool.
easy.
Okay, so let's circle back on that, you and I. And I'll
10-4.
like figure out some questions. We'll figure that out and kind of go from there. Just a little quick questionnaire for okay.
Sounds
Okay,
good to me.
right on. Thank you. Okay, is there an issue with, let's see. Oh, that one guy in the live last night, Jim said, the white paper is hard to read on the black background. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. I remember
Is
it.
there some way with that white paper, is there somewhere that like they can like just have like a box, a click at the top that is a tab, a button for white paper? I know it's not as sleek and elegant as what you have built for us.
I mean, I'm trying to not make this sound insulting, but could there be like an easy read option, or like, you know, a big text on just a white background? So how would you put that?
Yeah, exactly. I know, right? I don't know. It was just what the person was saying, and I don't know. We're just
hard to read. I mean,
housekeeping.
Gotcha.
Landon, is it hard to read? I don't think it is.
I mean, I've got like the vision of a sniper, so I'm not the one to ask.
I see you're eating carrots all day, so I can see fine with my glasses and my carrots. So
Nice.
I'm not the girl either.
These are just blue blockers.
Nice. So maybe because when on the site where to access the white paper, they've got to enter in their email address, and which is good because, you know, whatever. But is there maybe some way just to put a little button or something? I don't know. Just something to think about, kick around, whatever. Moving on. Is Lyle, he's not here. Is he the one who's going to be, no, I don't think so, but we don't have the whole group here. I'm going to ask this question when the whole group is on follow up. I'm going to post that later. All right. Those are the major like questions that I had, there's another idea here too. Is there an issue with DAO Squared providing financial assistance to the folks who want to do their Series 65 for the fees that are associated to take the test, sit for the exam?
Let me just think about that for a minute.
Great, just an idea. All right. Sorry, you guys can do whatever.
Jenny, my immediate reaction to that is this. If you remember last night when we over and over again. I said the GP and the investment management company. That's more, and sometimes those things start off as the same entity, same EIN number, same LLC, etc. So to answer your question, yes, it's a little bit cleaner to do that from the investment management company.
Oh,
right? Because the investment management company will do two things. It'll either provide advice to people or it'll provide advice to some sort of fund. In our world, we call them DAOs. So it makes sense if we're recruiting people to go into the if we're recruiting people to become investment advisors, it should originate out of there.
perfect.
It would be like, it would be like an expense of recruiting and preparing people, investment advisors.
Exactly.
But no, but I like the idea of subsidizing. It's $300 or $400 to register people. It's $150 for the course to prepare for it, and like $180 to take the test. It's not a big deal. The Series 7 to become a broker is a much bigger deal. I mean, that takes like 4 months of pretty almost 9 to 5 study. Series 65 is, especially if people have just a little bit of a financial background, it's actually sort of fun.
Cool. Good. Well, that I think that'll be an interesting, a good way to present it, and people will see the real value in it. I wonder what else I've got here. Don't wait on me.
It's all right.
I'm gonna steal the scene for a second then. I have a few, I mean, I'll probably need to send this to everybody with the email address, but I had a few things. One, so I recently bumped Lyle's account from straight email to some other products. So we can use PowerPoint, some other Microsoft products, which is fine. But as a general rule, moving forward, I'd like to have a little bit more structure around work requests. So I'm gonna have to set up a little bit of a structure, but if people want me to add products to the GoDaddy instance, whether it's email related or other Microsoft product, they should send me an email to albert@brunocrypto.io with what the need is as the subject line, and then also CC James, not Lieb, but so that there's always, so that I can default do the thing and also have like a traceability in that this, at least I can assume that you have seen this, for billing purposes. So I'm just not out there just like buying a million products for people at random, and also what the need is, like what the purpose for the need is. So that'll be something I'll email everybody about. Secondly, when bringing new people into the group, we should, from this point moving forward, use exclusively the Bruno Crypto emails. We shouldn't be sharing any Gmail. So James, totally fine that you emailed me, but so I don't mean to pick you out specifically, but generally we shouldn't share the personal emails. There was a third thing. I was going to say that, Jenny, it may be useful for you to put Slack on whatever machine you don't have it on. That's your call, of course, but it may be handy. That's my primary communication tool. And then James, you had mentioned us syncing up before. We should actually do that sooner rather than later, so we can set up some billing policies so that I can know what things I can by default approve. I can create new email accounts, and like if there's like a threshold for expenses that are too high that I should talk to you about first. Because right now I'm kind of like the Wild West. I'm shooting from the hip as requests come in, I field them, but we should have a little bit more structure. So you and I should sync up sometime whenever we get the chance. None of this is that pressing, but just those few items.
Yep. So
is Jack still the point man for the finances?
Let me answer that because Jenny asked me about it yesterday. So Jack is sort of the controller of all things digital, and controls the wallet, and will control very soon probably control multiple wallets. That's one thing I don't know the answer to. I think Jack and I have talked about it. If we make 320 DAOs, do they all have their own wallet? I don't know the answer to that. So that's something we should figure out.
I asked him that question, and he seemed to think that it would be easy if the members provided their wallet and we just sent it to them that way.
Got it. Right. Okay. So we have like one.
Worth double checking though.
Okay. Hey, Landon, can you take a peek and tell us where we are in terms of indications of interest for the Discord channel, and then how many people have paid? You're muted, buddy. There you go.
Now? Okay, good. You can actually check that in the Discord under the new Discord members channel. I've got it marked at 10. So 10 so far. And we've had about 44. So we sent out 195 emails on that initial blast, and we've had 44 opened and 21 clicks. And so 10 subscribes out of that. So that might be, if everybody opens it, maybe climbed to about 40 or so.
Okay.
At the current conversion rate.
Good. My inclination with that information is, we're in a bit of a sales process here, right? So everybody's doing the best that they can do. Whenever you sort of trigger that interest, like as time passes, the incentive to pull the trigger on something generally fades. And now that we have that streamline, when people are, listening, watching something they really like on TikTok, or they're in a live thing and they get the initiative to go like, wow. So like now that they can step through the hoops to make that happen, I'm sure we'll have a better thing. But it incentivizes me to do this 11 o'clock thing and say like, look, here's the really sexy, fun stuff in 11 minutes that you're going to get behind the Discord channel. And we're giving it to you for free right now, and try to get people like cranked. And then let's say September 1, that 11 o'clock thing happens behind the paywall. So we'll try to give them that stimulation that they want. And let me just make a quick comment. As I'm doing my due diligence on Ripple, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And Jim Lieb here, who's up in my upper right hand corner, sent me a piece on Ripple that is, don't ask me which is more exciting, Ripple or Ethereum right now, but they both have that kind of wow, that's my initial reaction to the kinds of things that I'm looking at. So, that's my job, just to put the tie on and get people excited and, be the Jim Cramer of the brave new world of digital assets. So I'm happy to do that. It's a lot of fun. Hey Lyle, glad you could join us. I think Jenny had some questions for you.
No, Lyle and I talked earlier.
Yeah.
One quick comment on the lives. So I think James, me and you might have talked about it, but on Sundays, you normally go for 2 hours or so. There seems to be a drop off after about 45 minutes.
Okay.
I had suggested at the 45-minute mark transitioning into the Discord and continuing the conversation there.
I see.
And I think that would work as a great pull to, people that are involved, because then it's like a more intimate group. People can ask questions and interact with you on a much more intimate level. And yeah.
I think you're right about that, because it's what happens is these numbers are like pretty impressive. We got 4,000. I'm running out of chargers here. That's all right. We're good. It's all good. For like the first hour and a half, for maybe like the first 45 minutes, I'd like have this bulk of an idea that I want to talk about. And then it transitions to sort of like people reacting to that initial thing. And then like the last third of it becomes, as you'd imagine, like when you go to a seminar or a conference, and like the last third of it becomes really higher end discussion and Q's and A's. Like all the Cardano people finally go away and I block all the assholes. So the last 10 or 20 people are really like asking the good kinds of questions. So that's a great idea. We'll like say like, hey, if you really want us to walk you through these deeper ideas, we have we'd ask you to join the club. So I like the model. I'm gonna go grab my other battery charger for my phone because it just died. Lau, what do you know? Tell us something exciting.
Started off, I'm working on the privacy policy, something that, the main thing that was brought up real recently was just that we're not gonna, there was an inquiry on whether we would monetize people's contact info, which I think is fair to say, no, we will not be selling it, any of that stuff. So I think tomorrow I'll have a good draft of privacy policy to put out there for us all to look through. And then I think run it by legal. Just looking at the beginning of it, Bruno Capital LLC is the main thing that the main holder of the website and stuff. And we could essentially say that the Dow Squared is a subsidiary of it when it comes to something like this. You're muted.
It's a little bit more complicated than that, but
Yeah.
that's okay. For right now, that's the case.
Okay.
The DAO legal structure becomes more evolved. There'll just be like 2 or 3 moving parts. So it's not a real complicated answer, but for right now, that's a fine answer.
Yeah. I mainly want to get something put together and out there that is going to cover us here in the US, to cover that question that was brought up, and also get because it looks like one of the Discord subscribers is possibly not from the US.
I think that's
but I don't anticipate, it looked like they were from Australia. I don't anticipate anything in the privacy policy for Australians, but there's having the privacy policy cover Canadians and European GDPR is going to be important. So I'm going to have aspects of the privacy policy cover that. And it's a living document. It's something that we can revise as needed.
Sure. Cool. Yeah. What else? What we hit on right now? That's I think we're at the point where like we've got a lot built, and that's to Landon's credit. And I think the next big push will be Jenny is going to become managing director of DAOs or some sort of title similar to that at the exact same time that we're building the documentation behind the DAOs. So that'll actually work well. So she'll be like learning how these things work. I mean, I'm going to be learning too. But we're basically following like a private equity structure, which makes it easy to talk to attorneys and regulators and so forth. But that's going to happen like in the next month. I mean, it's not between now and the end of the year. It's between like now and September 15th. And, to everybody's credit, all the things that we've talked about all summer have about a 4 to 5 week, incubation period until we get them done. And I'm comfortable with that. We don't have to like throw ourselves at these things, right? We don't have to like get over our skis. Even Matt Kaufman said, as they're building DAOs, depending on how complex they are and how digital they are, the law firm actually has to hold the hand of the Secretary of State of Wyoming and explain, what they're doing. In other words, so you create an LLC document. It's really easy. Everybody can go through the document paragraph by paragraph and see what's going on. But when that's all digital, like there's not people sitting around in the offices of Wyoming that know how to read code. So that's the challenge, but we don't have to go hair on fire. We can just, as we've done, just keep migrating along. You know, we'll have voting issues to deal with at some point. Again, we don't have to, you know, we don't have to be the first in the field. Quite the contrary. I think the technologies is like, we're going to surf the wave of the technology, and we don't really have to be in front of it. We can actually surf the wave from behind. You know, even like Garda, I think if we tried to do our tokenization project last year at this time, I don't think Garda would have had near the user interface that made it so easy for Jack. So we can just, you know, go about this like, you know, reasonable people. And again, you know, as you know, people want to push you like, well, what about this? What about Solana or some shit? And like, we're at no point are we saying like we're masters of the fucking universe in all things crypto. Quite the contrary. It's like, I'm a registered investment advisor. I'm 50 years old. I've been doing this 25 years. I do understand that this is taking over the financial system. We're going to go about this with like proper due diligence, and we're going to, you know, aim before we shoot. And we do have a lot of background, but we can, you know, go about this in a reasonable way, because so much of the other people providing content, let alone advice, are throwing themselves on things, right? That's the whole go to the, you know, let's get this thing to the moon. And what they're going to do is they're going to miss the big stuff. Like the stuff I'm reading right now in Ripple is so big, you can't throw yourself on it. Like you need to study it for like a couple of weeks and really do a deep dive. So anyways, but I will say that I'm real glad that Jenny's, you know, going to pick up where she is. I have to adopt to this new Discord model and make sure people are comfortable with that. And Landon's going to continue to make sure that the fit and finish of our digital facade is where it needs to be. And Jack is in the process.
Digital messaging. I like the term digital messaging way better than facade.
I know there's probably some better way to say that. Cool. We have a prospect that might have a significant chunk of money, which means that our the next Zoom, whether that's at, you know, in the Zoom process like we're in right now or in Discord, I'll be able to give orders, and Jenny will be able to give orders, and everybody will be able to like sort of attack in a way that we haven't. By the way, Lyle, that's your t-shirt. It's sort of like we know what we're doing, and now we just have if you remember if you've ever seen the movie Patton, at the end of it, he says, give me 20,000 gallons of diesel fuel and I'll be in Moscow in 10 days. You know, we'll be in that position to attack. So attack life.
Yeah.
What else? How about you finish, Landon, digital guy? Because you've been carrying the ball here. Like, you know, yeah. I think we're up by 10 points, and you ran for 122 yards, and that's great. And a big thank you. You know, you and I, a bit of like, holy fuck, do you really think we can pull this off? And like, you know, you did it, and here we go. So
I appreciate it. Yeah, I really think just rounding out the reoccurring tasks on the Discord and sewing everything together right now as tightly as I can. So we've got new member notifications in the Slack. I've got you'll get a Slack message every time somebody books with you, as well as the notification from your Calendly app. And I think I'm going to get sort of a Discord checklist together for you, just so your tasks and interaction in there are defined, and you're able to just go through that and, make it a part of your routine. Because we had the conversation too, like, I think the Discord at least should transition to getting more attention than the TikTok.
Yeah.
Keep posting your videos and interacting, but we've got the serious group now, and let's take care of them.
Plus, there'll be a network effect of making them happy, and they will pull friends along. And if this is something that made them enter their credit card number, they're going to discuss it with friends and family. Do you guys have any like hunch of like how many TikToks I should put up a day?
I would say at least one, at that rate, because there is a consistent posting effect, kind of across all algorithms right now.
Okay.
And even falling off for a week will dampen your exposure.
Okay. I've been really pretty active, and not partially because you get like this dopamine rush, right? Whenever I do my lives and like you click that button and it says 99 plus, you're like, woo, right? So, but on the other hand, it can become sort of, you dilute the product just by throwing shit up just because you want to, get another one up there. But I'm going to just probably think in my own brain about 4. They really don't take very long. I don't like sit like the thinker like this and go, now what should I do? I just wait till something catches my attention that I think is important, and then I hit the button. So it's not an agonizing process at all.
Yeah, that's better than, it, because I'll give people a social media schedule, and they'll be so paranoid and militant about sticking to it that the content itself kind of falls by the wayside. If you have a day of inspiration and you want to make 6 videos and you're on fire, go for it, because that shines through. If it takes you a whole day of research to get something together for one TikTok, that's fine too, as long as that quality stays up there.
Yeah. So it's like this Psychedelic Furs song where he says, how's he said? I go where my mind, I follow where my mind goes, or I go where my mind follows, or something like that. So like, like I'm about to finish Ulysses Grant's bio, like every 7 minutes it'll generate a TikTok if I wanted to. So there's not like a content problem. That's pretty easy. And if it really gets bad, we just add bourbon and then the things come out. So
guys,
book club.
Okay.
In the Discord, because you're reading like something every day, it seems.
Well, not only that, I just have so much in my memory banks of.
How many books would you estimate that you have read in your
life?
time? Like, yeah, I mean, not for school, but just recreationally, because you're such an avid reader. I think you're more of a reader than nearly anyone I've ever met. Like, you put away the pages.
I think there's people who read 50 times more books than I do. Actually, I think the volume of books that I read is actually relatively, like, I don't read novels. Like, I forced myself to read The Godfather when I went to Mexico a couple of years ago. I was like, okay, Jim, you need to read a fucking novel, like, for once in your life. Like, all the other stuff I read is like, no, but I have a pretty hardcore liberal arts background, right? Like, you want to go deep dive on like medieval theology and shit, I can do that. So, but no, I've heard Caitlin Long say this many times, that because of the great financial crisis, she said in so many words, like, everything I've been taught is bullshit. So she just sort of her own accord started to study things about monetary policy and financial valuation and history and so on and so forth. And really what a lot of people do is everybody's reading the same thing. So everybody's like in a feedback loop of Milton Friedman and to some extent Warren Buffett. And let's just pretend like they're the two big guys. Well, Warren Buffett is like the value guy, right? And everybody should buy stocks, and there's no better investment than equities long term. But over here, we have these people running the Federal Reserve who say there's never going to be a recession. We can just offset all recessions with monetary policy. Well, those two things are insane together, right? That's where we're living in. We're like living in this like almost like schizophrenic world in terms of finance. Like that, those two things together are crazy because the people invest in the equities, think that there's like real value here, but the policymakers are generating the false value. So, but to answer your question, Jenny, I would say, I don't know. You know, like to get a bachelor's of arts at the Ivy League, you got to read a lot of fucking books and write a lot of papers.
It's
And
impressive.
it's not hard. It's not like you're studying to be a brain surgeon, but you know, you're doing a paper like every week, and you're not going to get an F. But you know, I remember I had a class on relativism, all the weird 20th century shit on relativism. I remember one of the books I had to read. It was a small book. It was like 200 pages. I read it 3 times. I had no idea what the fuck it said. I got nothing. I think it was the 4th time through that I was like, okay, there's a little bit something here to chew on. So I wouldn't say it's the volume. I try to find the ones that are like really, really dense. I heard an interview of Charles Hoskinson, the Cardano guy, and somebody who was it? It's Pomp. It's Anthony Pompliano, the Bitcoin pizza guy, as I refer to him. I say that somewhat affectionately. And when he interviews people, he says, he has 3 questions at the end, and it's cute. He says, I forget the third one, but one of them is do you believe in aliens? And then there's who's the most important person that made an impression on you or something like that? And the third is what's your favorite, the book that made the biggest influence on you? And his answer was The House of Morgan by Chernow. And that would be in my top 2 or 3 as well. It's this thick. And you really get in one big block of a book, a real deep dive on the history of American finance. It's really, really worthwhile. I mean, it's like, if you had to go to the Ivy League and take a history of finance, American finance class, I would just say, just get the book and go to the beach. So long answer. Sorry, Jenny.
I appreciate it.
What else?
I think the other thing that I want to focus on in the immediate is just kind of like putting a map together for people, because everybody wants to know how to get started. They ask you all the time, what do I do? Where do I go? What do I do first?
Yeah, I get that stuff. Like I'm getting people like all jazzed up and everything, and then like okay, what do I do?
We have nowhere to deliver their excitement. We need to like be able to grab it and deliver them where they need to go. So let's put together, I'll kind of get with you on that and see kind of where that leads, but really hammering out like a guide.
Yeah. When you make a list of 33 things that are sort of abstract and like, that's actually, you know, there's actually a negative, there's a famous thing in marketing where in one grocery store, they're trying to sell jelly and they have 33, I think the number is 33 brands, not brands, but flavors of jelly. In another store, they have 3. And it's like 100 to 1 the sales, because people just get like ADD looking at all the different things to do. So we have to get them out of the ADD. We should probably break down what we're doing into 3 things. Like, these are the 3 action points that you have, and here's how we're going to help you with them. And
Yep.
Then the more sophisticated people will blow through those first 3 and want to be like, you know, spend an hour talking to you, Jenny, about like, hey, I want to build a DAO in Seattle, and I have the backing and the people and followers and capital and the whole thing. And I want to, you know, I'm ready to help you do this. That's what we really want to get people to, that point where like, no, Bruno isn't fucking doing this. We're doing this. And Bruno is just going to you know, send you the pizza kit, so to speak. And like, you're going to put it in your own oven.
Mhm. Cool. Okay. So I'll put some thoughts together and we'll get together on that then.
Great. Anything else?
Do I need to change this duration to an hour? We're about 22 minutes over the scheduled time. I can change it if we're gonna regularly go
Yeah.
up.
Kill it right here. Let's kill it here, because everybody starts to babble, mainly me.
Okay.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks,
Cool.
Jenny.
Thanks,
Cheers,
guys.
Bob.